I don't even have a proper intro for this video. I just finished watching the first episode of this series and I was itching to talk about it and make this video because I have a lot of thoughts. So let's jump right into episode 1 of Apple TV's Presumed Innocent. So the very first scene of this show introduces us to this guy. His name is Dusty Sabich and he is a prosecutor. In this scene, he's giving his opening statement in a trial. And from this opening statement, you get the sense that he's an empathetic man because he doesn't start off guns blazing like how you usually expect prosecutors to start. Instead, he says things like, "So surely Rusty must be a good guy, right?"
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
The next scene, Rusty is hanging out with his wife and 2 kids, but then he gets a phone call which interrupts them. He pulls his wife aside and explains to her that Caroline Polimas was murdered. And you can see that this news really affects him. He rushes to the crime scene, and when he gets there, this man warns him not to go in, but Rusty insists, and what he sees is very brutal. Cut to the next scene and Rusty is in a room with a bunch of other prosecutors who all look really sad. Come to find out that Caroline was their co-worker. There's tension in the room between these two and these two, and it's because these two are running against each other to be the state attorney. And these two are the number 2s of this guy and this guy, respectively. But since this guy is the current state attorney, he has to decide who would take Caroline's case, and he chooses Rusty. Rusty doesn't waste any time because he begins to discuss how the case will be handled with her. Rusty is back at home watching the news where Nico is paying his respects to Caroline and her family while simultaneously throwing shade at Raymond. Rusty's wife Barbara comes in and comforts him and says that, "I will try to be here for you." And I was like, what do you mean by that, Barbs? Then Barbara tells Rusty that she won't go to the memorial. And I was like, maybe she was good friends with Caroline. Maybe it would just hurt Barbara to see Caroline like that, like in the casket and stuff. Cut to the next scene and it's the memorial. We meet these two. Find out that this is Caroline's ex and this is her son. This isn't just news to us though, because it's also new information to Rusty. He excuses himself and walks out.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Now back to the investigation. Rusty thinks that maybe this guy may be involved in Caroline's death because he was convicted of murdering a woman named Bunny Davis who was tied up in the same way that Caroline's body was tied up. And Caroline was one of the prosecutors in Reynolds' trial. However, Bunny was stabbed while Caroline was bludgeoned. But this is enough for Rusty and Ringo to go and visit Reynolds, who is serving a life sentence. But that goes as well as you'd expected. Rusty later visits Caroline's ex-husband, where we learn a few things about her, like Rusty, as the lead prosecutor, holds a meeting about the case and explains the little leads that they currently have, and Tommy can't help but remind Rusty of that. After the meeting, an annoyed Rusty calls Tommy into his office. Due to this encounter, when reporters interview Rusty, he doesn't hesitate to throw shade at Nico and Tommy, much to Raymond's delight. Now at first I was like, go off King, but then it got personal and petty. After seeing her husband's interview, Barbara correctly assumes that Rusty must be handling Caroline's case. So when they're in bed, she asks him. And immediately you notice that the vibes are off and the atmosphere is tense. And then...
What if it gets out? That you two were involved.
Rusty, why? Why? The next scene shows Rusty swimming, probably trying to clear his mind, which fails because he can't stop thinking about Caroline. We jump to him at therapy, where he's explaining to his therapist how he's been feeling and how he can't stop thinking about Caroline. This man begins to explain the sex he was having with Caroline, and has the audacity to compare it to Barbara's. And like, I get he has to explain this to his therapist, but I don't want to hear that. And the more that this man reveals, I'm like, whoa, have you talked to Barbara about this? And guess what? He hasn't. He also reveals that Caroline liked to say, and like, I know that we're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but
Fuck you, bitch. Shut the fuck up.
2 weeks have passed, and this means that the elections for state attorney have happened. Nico ended up winning, meaning that Tommy is now chief deputy prosecutor and Rusty isn't.
Oh. All right.
After this, Rusty's at the dinner table having a drink, wallowing in self-pity when Barbara approaches him. He thanks her for sticking by him through all the nonsense he's put her through, and she explains that she could have left and she could still leave, but she stays for the kids. But like, if I were her, I'd say... After I watched this scene, I was like, no, he should be the one saying all this stuff to her. He should be the one saying that they should fight and all that stuff, because he'll think that she's forgiven him, and he'll probably most likely cheat on her again. Like, why am I so invested in this? Barbara, please stop. Please stop. The next day, Rusty is in the office and he goes to talk to Raymond, who is clearing up his old office, when they get caught by Nico in the conference room. Nico explains what we already know. After some time, Tommy asks Rusty for all the information regarding Caroline's case. Then he asks Rusty why his fingerprints were found in Caroline's bedroom. Rusty stutters out a pathetic excuse, but Tommy keeps those blows coming. Then just straight up asks Rusty if he had a romantic relationship with Caroline. This is his response.
My personal relationship with Caroline Polimas is not relevant to this investigation.
Are you shitting me?
At that point, just say yeah. Because what is that? What is that response? But does Tommy stop there? Nope. He drops this bombshell. He then asks Rusty if he has any idea who the father is. Yeah, at first I was rooting for this man, but now I'm not. Like, I don't like Rusty, but I'm still gonna watch the show. I'm so invested. It's so interesting. Let me know your thoughts on the show. I'd really love to hear them. Also, let me know if I should make videos on the other episodes. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Check out my other videos. See you next time. Bye.
Okay.